What up, everybody? It's me, Chris, back again. Here to give my thoughts on this weekend's Antonio Tarver versus Chad Dawson rematch. First off, I want to drop a couple last second thoughts on Pacquiao Hatton. You know, a couple things I forgot to mention, or one thing I forgot to mention and something else real quick. I forgot to mention yesterday, it just slipped my mind. I was going to say how, for some reason or another, I'm not sure why it works out this way, it just has thus far. It seems like all the fights that have been accompanied by the HBO series 24/7, great series, definitely gives you makes you believe both fighters have a chance in the fight. But for one reason or another, it seems like all four of the fights that have been accompanied by 24/7 have been one-sided fights. Granted, Oscar De La Hoya versus Floyd Mayweather was a little competitive, but not too competitive. It was pretty obvious Floyd won that fight. Hatton Mayweather was one-sided, Pacquiao Hatton was one-sided, and Jones Calzaghe for the most part was one-sided. So it's just a little observation I noticed. It'll be interesting to see if the next fight happens that way. I don't know if there's like a jinx, like the Sports Illustrated or Madden cover jinx, or what's going on, but just something I noticed. Anyways, real quick, another thing I want to talk about, Ricky Hatton. Now, I said yesterday in the video, I don't think he should necessarily retire, and I'll be catching a little bit of heat for that. I'm not saying that he should or shouldn't retire. I'm just saying I see a lot of people saying he's done. Get out the game while you're healthy. You know, don't get seriously hurt. I think mainly because of the way he was knocked out. And I said it kind of reminded me of Roy Jones versus Glenn Johnson, where Roy was completely just out cold for a long time. It was a real scary sight when he lost to Glenn Johnson. And everyone said he should retire. Now, granted, I don't think Roy Jones should still continue fighting at the moment, but he showed since that loss that he's more than capable of continuing his career, even if not on the same level. I'm just saying with Ricky Hatton, if he wants to continue fighting, that's if he wants to. I have no, interest either one way or the other. I have no preference whether he retires or not. But if he wants to come back and still fight, just let's give the guy a shot, Let's see if he has anything left, I don't think 2 bad losses is the end of a guy, So, I'm just saying don't write a guy off after, a big knockout loss necessarily. Especially a guy with a record like his, and a proven history. So, if he decides to retire, congratulations to him on a good career. But if he comes back, let's see how he looks before we all write him off and say he should retire. That's all I'm saying about that. Anyways, moving on. This weekend's fight, rematch between Chad Dawson and Antonio Tarver for the IBF 175-pound title. Chad Dawson's record is 27-0, 17 knockouts, stands 6'3", 76.5-inch reach. He's 26 years old. Antonio Tarver, record 27 wins, 5 losses, 19 knockouts, stands 6'2" with 75-inch reach. He is 40 years old. So obviously the most glaring, or the only real statistic of those that stands out, is the age difference. This is a rematch. A lot of people have been saying, why is this fight even being made? Why are they having this fight? Obviously the first fight was very one-sided for Chad Dawson. Fact of the matter is Antonio Tarver had a rematch clause, and he invoked it, which is why the rematch is made. No other reason than that. So Dawson didn't really have a choice if he wanted to retain his title, which I believe he does. Why is HBO showing this fight is another thing, though. Fact of the matter is they just acquired Chad Dawson, and they like to showcase some of their fighters, so I guess this is the first fight they're going to have doing such. It's interesting because this is like HBO has a history of Showtime building up fighters, and when they get to the top, HBO taking them over, I guess, because they could offer them a little bit more money than Showtime can. We've seen it with Nassim Hamed, Joe Calzaghe, Juan Diaz, Chad Dawson now, numerous other names that I can't think off the top of my head, but those are just a few examples. Ricky Hatton. So, HBO obviously has an interest in Chad Dawson. They see something in him. Obviously, he's a good fighter. So, Anyways, regarding the fight itself, first fight was completely one-sided. I didn't expect it to be that one-sided, but it was. There was actually a few times I thought Dawson might be able to get Tarver out of there. He tried, but never was able to. I don't see anything different in this fight, to be honest. I don't see any improvements can make. The only difference I've seen is Antonio Tarver's got a few months older, I don't believe he has the speed to contest with Chad Dawson. He does have power, and Chad Dawson has shown his chin's a little bit vulnerable at times, but I just don't think he's going to be able to catch Dawson. Dawson's too fast and too wary of that, Dawson, in his last fight, was the win. Before the Tarver fight, he had the fight with Glenn Johnson. Now, that was a fight where he showed a lot of vulnerabilities, Johnson hurt him on more than a few occasions, but after that fight, the Tarver fight, he just looked so much better. Tarver, before the Dawson fight, he had the Clinton Woods fight. He won easily, but didn't really look anything special or spectacular in that fight. So even if you wrote off their last fight, their first fight, and went by their last performances, Chad Dawson's going to be the favorite for obvious reasons. He's young. He's in his prime. Antonio Tarver is past his prime at this point. He does have power, but I just don't think he's going to be able to catch Chad. Do I think Chad Dawson could finish this fight? Possibly. I think the most likely thing is he'll go to a decision. But I think if he goes to Antonio Tarver's body, which he did quite a bit of in the first fight, I think if he goes to his body extensively, I think he could really take it out of Antonio Tarver. I'm not saying Tarver's necessarily weak to the body, but no one wants to get hit to the body. And especially the older you get as a fighter, the effects of taking a lot of body shots and accumulation, it's just going to, pile up more. You can't take it as well as you could earlier in your career, at least in my opinion. That's, what I've noticed. So, I think Chad Dawson's going to win this fight easily. I think it'll be a unanimous decision if he doesn't stop him. If he does stop him, I think it will be on body shots. Like I said, I don't think he's going to knock Antonio Tarver out. Tarver's shown a really solid chin in the past. Don't know what'll be next if he does win this fight. I'd like to see a Glenn Johnson rematch, but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately. There's not too many names at 175 right now. Hopkins doesn't seem to want Dawson. I don't know. I guess I'll talk about that more after the fight. If Dawson ends up losing, then all this talk is for naught. So maybe I'll wait until Sunday to give my thoughts on that. But anyways, not the most anticipated fight by any stretch. But you never know. With boxing, anything can happen. We've definitely seen that time and time again, Not too many people thought Hopkins was going to be Pavlik, or, Hopkins was going to dominate Tarver. It's just with boxing, you never know what's going to happen. So I'm going to tune in regardless if I think this fight's going to be one-sided or not. Plus, I want to watch the replay of Hatton-Pacquiao, so it's worth tuning in for that in itself. Anyways, that's pretty much it for now. Oh, real quick though, make sure and still check out the WillieBloodFightShow.com, and every Thursday, 5 to 7 Pacific, 8 o'clock on the East Coast, blogtalkradio.com/leaveitinthering, the radio show. Check it out this weekend, or this week. I know Victor Ortiz is going to be a guest. I forgot who else is going to be a guest, but feel free to call in, check it out. You might be able to get a chance to ask Victor a question, and just participate and support. Appreciate it. As I'm sure does 97 Rough, Blood, Rob Riddler, and everybody else, Hudathan, David Chen, everyone else that's on the show. We all appreciate the support. So probably back on Sunday to give my thoughts afterwards on this fight. But until then, guys, I'm out of here. Bye.